Hi, this is Dominic Keating. I played Lieutenant Malcolm Reed on Enterprise, as you probably know, and you are listening to the NX 7062 podcast.
Hello, hello, hello. Yes, you are listening to the NX 7062 podcast. Transmissions from, gosh, I know I say this every week. I need to change that so that I keep remembering the name of my show that I picked that is on all my merch. Anyway, guys, hi. Hope everybody is doing well out there. As you can probably see, we are in a different area. I decided to give you guys a little bit of a tour. If you've ever seen any of my YouTube shorts, then you'll know that this is my downstairs. This is where I do a lot of my YouTube shorts from. Hey, Nancy, good to see you. Casbar, you're here early. Lovely. Lasso, always good to see all of you all here. Anyway, I've got a dog sleeping on my lap, a cat sitting next to me, and I just decided to change things up for tonight's show and hang out down in my living room and use my, as they said in it's really old commercial and it's always stuck with me. Seth MacFarlane called it a lappity tappity box. So we're hanging out. I'm using my lappity tappity box, and we're gonna do Valentine's Day Star Trek style. So I sat down and I made a list of all of the couples and all the relationships throughout the franchise. Highlighting most of them. I'm sure I missed a couple, but of course I want to hear from you guys because you know what, romance was not as big a deal in TOS as it started to evolve and relationships started to evolve um, as each of the franchises moved forward. Um, because I mean, look at it this way: what did we have in TOS? We basically had Kirk and anything in a skirt. Of course, we did find out later on about Carol and David, but for those 3 years that TOS was on the air, it was Kirk and a skirt. McCoy was in love with the salt monster. Christine Chapel, wasn't she in love with a guy that built androids? Spock, Spock had to pring. Plus, the two times that his emotions got in the way, he did end up with two other women, Mariette Hartley and that other chick whose name I can't remember. Um, and Cochrane. Um, hey, John, good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Zephram Cochrane, I think, was the most unique relationship. One of the most groundbreaking relationships, I think, in TOS because the whole thing about gender assumptions kind of snuck into the story, and I'm not sure if that's exactly what the writers had in mind. But Zephram Cochrane, uh, this energy mass kept him alive, and we all, and everybody assumed, you know, a more malicious intent than just that the energy monster was in love with him. So I think that I think, for the time that it was, I think that that was amazing that they were able to, kind of get that story in there. But I mean, for the most part, that's what TOS meant with relationships. They were all fleeting. You didn't really see anything on the ships that was lasting. There was that one, wasn't there one episode where the captain married somebody? He married two crew members, but main character romances really didn't come into play until we get TNG, and then the first big one we find out about is Riker and Troy, my all-time favorite. The Imzadi relationship will always be my all-time favorite. But that was a big one. The captain and the will they and the captain. Hey, Dave, good to see you. Um, and classic will they won't they romance between Picard and Beverly. And they each had romances that got in the way. Of course, Beverly and the Trill, which was another fantastic episode about how to love and who to love and learning that love should not have any boundaries associated with it. You're gonna love who you love. Oh, thank you, Dave. Appreciate that. So I've always loved that episode. The host. There we go. I remember the title. The host was a really fantastic episode. Yep, I was just getting there. Good old Vosh. I loved Vosh. I thought Vosh was a fantastic character. Um, and I love how, she just kind of needled it for cards. She's like, I know there's something more exciting underneath the stern exterior. And come on, if it wasn't for her, would we have had Worf saying, I am not a merry man? And even Worf was in Worf, we find out that Klingons are capable of very intense romantic feelings because he had Kalar. Um, we learned that Data, our fully functional friend Data and Tasha, because obviously for Data it went well beyond that one encounter. Um, and we had O'Brien and Keiko. They got married. So obviously Star Trek's view of relationships and romance obviously expanded as we came into TNG. It obviously helped that family units were now part of space travel, and you could bring your family on board. So it made more sense to kind of, if you can have families and people can create families while they're on the ship. I mean, they never really talked about Valentine's Day, which is fine. I mean, we all know it's a Hallmark holiday. But it's just nice to see that they were, that we got to see more interpersonal relationships as the series progressed. Um, oh, you guys are so cute. You and Lasso. I love Dave and Lasso. I love the fact that because Lasso is here, Dave has started watching him on his Sunday night shows, which is called Fanboy Live. I encourage everybody to go out and check out Fanboys Live. Check out anything Lasso does. Please follow him. He's been such an amazing supporter, and especially considering he's only seen a few episodes of Star Trek in his life, I so appreciate him. So I would love it if he found some followers. In one episode, Nurse Chapel had the hots for Spock. Also, Spock fell in love with yep. We were talking about the cave woman, shot by the plant. Yep, exactly. Shot by the that's the one I was talking about. The chick I couldn't remember. Whatever Spock's emotions got in the way, he got involved. Um, it was Marriott Hartley, I believe, played the cave dwelling woman, and Chapel was in love with Spock the entire time. I mean, it just really came to a head in Amok Time. But I mean, Chapel had the hots for Spock all 3 years, and they've really expounded upon that in Strange New Worlds, which I think is interesting because T'Pring's still in the picture somewhere. Um, there we go. Thanks, Lasso. I've checked out Fanboys Live. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I just realized I didn't change. I'm on the other computer and I didn't change the settings. So now my graphics look about as bland as they did last night on the Super Bowl. I was actually having a conversation with my buddy Marty about that today. Um, yeah, I am not an Eagles fan, even though I'm 20 minutes outside of Philly and everybody in my family is an Eagles fan. I am not an Eagles fan, but I am happy for the rest of my family because they're all thrilled. Me, I couldn't care less. I did not watch the Super Bowl because none of the teams that I was involved with, none of the teams that I are involved with were in the Super Bowl. But I am pretty sure that Connor and his lovely new wife Jackie are very happy because I do know they're Eagles fans. So for Connor and Jackie, I'm happy for them as well. Shout out to Connor, Chenier, and Jackie. Transmission Man, you will be a guest on Fanboys Live later this year. All right. Well, this year just started, so better hurry up and get on my schedule, Lasso. But I would love to do that with you. Um. Oh, Jean, I didn't hate it. I absolutely didn't hate it. But yeah, it could have been a ton, a ton better. Okay, so from Riker and Troy and everybody else on TNG, we moved to DS9. And DS9, Kira and her, and what was it? Kira and Barial, then Kira and Odo, Jadzia, not only did you get to see Jadzia end up with Worf, but you got to see a bunch of Dax's past loves come visit the station. They got the girl on girl kiss because Jadzia's Dax's past wife showed up on the station. You had Cisco and Cassidy. You had Esri and Bashir. And then because I very specifically mentioned in my posts that this could be bromance or romance, because when it comes to bromances like that, feelings run deep. You cannot forget to mention O'Brien and Bashir. Obviously, O'Brien and Keiko got married on TNG. They continued their wonderful relationship on DS9, and then O'Brien meets Bashir, and now he's got that bromance going on, which is totally fine. But there was a lot of interpersonal relationships. Oh, what? See, this is why I really should rewatch things more. Um, oh my God. See, I'm completely blanking. Gold Dukat when he was pretending to be Bajoran, and then he had that affair. But there was love. There was love there, even though it was based on evil. There was still love there. So, like I said, as Star Trek progressed through the franchises, interpersonal relationships and love just kind of went with it. Um, Bashir and the Kardashians. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Bashir and Garrick on Hi Mac Boy. Glad you could join us, Bashir and Garrick on Lower Decks. Yep, haven't gotten up to Lower Decks yet, but absolutely, absolutely. You find out that Paul and Tucker are together on Lower Decks in another universe, which is obviously, another relationship that some of us, really appreciated. Okay, so we're at Voyager. Neelix and Kess was romantic but weird. I always thought they were very interesting characters, but their relationship always seemed just weird. We had another bromance developing. We had Tom and Harry as the bromance. Then we had Tom and Balana. Um, hey Roy, it's Roy hiding under another thing. That's great. Okay, I can't. The way the computer's set up, I can't see the thumbnails real well. Hi Roy. Um, Yes, that's very true. There was a lot of will they, won't they on Voyager. And Chakotay and Janeway was definitely one of the will they, won't they's. Chakotay and Seven of Nine was a will they, won't they. And we all know Seven of Nine ended up with, see, again, with the names, I know the character is played by Michelle Hurd and the character's name. Phew. But that's who Seven of Nine ended up with, because she actually had a chance once she became human to explore her own sexuality. So she ended up with Michelle Hurd on Picard. But back when she was just Seven of Nine on Voyager, there was a will they, won't they. There was will they, won't they with her. There was all the holodecking going on. Janeway and at least one person, one holodeck character, because she was missing her boyfriend. Who didn't he break up with her when they finally got a chance to talk? Didn't he send her a Dear John letter via whatever conduit they were using? Um, so let's see. But yeah, like I said, the bromance with Tom and Harry. I did like Tom and Balana. I thought they were adorable together. Wasn't Balana? Was there an almost with Balana and Chakotay at some point? I think there was an almost with Balana and Chakotay at some point too. And then we can move on to Enterprise, where everybody at the very beginning thought it was going to be Archer and T'Pol, but that would have made no sense. The T'Pol and Trip was fantastic. I love T'Pol and Trip. I know there are people out there that stand for Archer and Shran, and I would definitely put them in the bromance category. Um, And of course, romance between Trip and Reed. We can't forget about that too. I mean, when you get drunk talking about Vulcan bums on a space on a shuttlecraft, on a shuttle pod. What do you expect to happen besides you guys come out looking like this and then try and hit on anything in a skirt on Ryza? Um, we find out Mayweather had an ex-girlfriend, that reporter turned spy. From what everybody wants to consider the final episodes of Enterprise, Demons and Terror Prime. Let's see. Yeah, Enterprise really Archer did lust after that entity on the rogue planet. Let's see. Anything else going on? I mean, oh, and we can't forget, 5 episodes in, Trip gets pregnant. So there's definitely lots of feelings flying around on Enterprise, and of course Phlox and his 3 wives. We get to find out that Denobulans all get to marry 3 people each. So Phlox had romance all over the place. We find out how Denobulans are incredibly romantic. Let us not forget the rose petal bath that we all wanted Trip to take with Phlox's wife. Um, Trying to think, was there anything else overly romantic? Yes, I was thinking about the thanks. I knew that there was one I forgot on my list. Archer and the Columbia's captain, which they definitely expound on a lot in the novels. You get to find out more about that relationship. You get to find out more about that relationship in the novels. But thank you. I knew I was forgetting one. Thank you, Roy. Appreciate that. Um, mm, 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 mm. Okay. Um, and then Discovery comes along. And right out of the gate, Discovery makes up for a lot of lost time because we've got Kubler and Stamets sharing toothbrushes in the first episode. Then we've got Book showing up, and Book and Burnham, and then we've got Adira and Tal, and I mean, Saru marrying Trina was just amazing. And I actually got to tell them both that at a convention. That relationship was probably one of my favorite in Discovery, and it was so short lived because it was only in the last couple of seasons, but it was so beautiful, and that wedding was gorgeous. But I think we can all agree. Um, Fiesel, yes, Fiesel. Did she offer to give you a rose? Yes, Fiesel was great. That whole watching Trip's discomfiture was probably my favorite part of that whole episode. Um, but I think we all have to agree that the best love story in all of Discovery, Book and Grudge, the Queen herself. I don't think you can get any better than the love Book had for that cat. He killed for that cat. That was probably my favorite scene. And what was that, season 3, where the guy threatened the cat and he threw him off the lift and he's like, bye bye. That and watching Janet Kidder's character die, like in something that they ripped off from Superman 3, which I still say they ripped off from Superman 3 because it was Janet Kidder. But yeah, Book and Grudge had to be the best relationship in all of Discovery. I'm sorry. That and Saru, that's tied with Saru's wedding and Saru's relationship. I love all of it. I love all of it. I get very mushy about all of it, but I'm sorry. Book and Grudge is probably the mushiest part of it. If Vader would get up, you guys would finally get to meet him, but he's laying on the couch. He's sleeping, and this guy's right on my lap. There he is, sleeping, snoring. The one thing I will tell you that I've missed not having a dog is that the snory, grunty noises that dogs with smushy faces make, and that's what one way I love French bulldogs and pugs is those smushy faces, and I've missed that little snoring, mushy face noise. Yeah, hi. Yeah, hi. Say hi. It's like, don't wake me up. Mom, don't wake me up. Archer put the moves on to Pow, even if he never remembered doing it. Archer put the moves. You mean that episode where that 51st dates episode? Which because we all know that I am absolutely terrible. Is that the one you're referring to, Jean? Which I cannot remember the damn name of. I want to say Twilight, but I'm not. I wouldn't swear by it. Was that Twilight? It was a good episode. Except for the whole Malcolm with the goatee. I couldn't stand that. I don't like Malcolm with a goatee, and that goes for in real life too. Sorry, Dominic. I'm just into clean shaven. But that's me. It's not my face. It's not my face. Um, but all right, so a Strange New Worlds. Now we're up to Strange New Worlds. And Lower Decks. And of course Lower Decks had the Tendi um oh my gosh. Rutherford, there we go. Hey, Twilight, I got one. Tendi Rutherford, um, will they, won't they? Literally up until the last episode. Obviously there was a lot of sexual tension. There was the Mariner Jennifer, relationship, which was really interesting. I loved how they broke up. I loved that last episode where she's like, "You never broke up with me, so I'm annoying you enough to break up with you, to break up with me." I thought that was a great. I mean, that's the opposite of Valentine's Day, but I always thought that that was great. It's like, I'm annoying you just enough so that you will finally confront me and break up with me. I thought that was fantastic. Um, yeah, there wasn't. I mean, there wasn't. Because it was very spoofy. But yeah, the Tendi thing. Oh, and Drax and um, I always just think of her as the cat doctor. Sorry. But yeah, so that was very lustful. That was more lust than love, but it was still a relationship. Strange New Worlds. They delved more into Spock, into Pring, which I had no problems with, but then there was Spock and Chapel. Again, whenever Spock lets his human side come through, when it comes to it's like all emotions are pent. Vulcans control all of their emotions, but it seems like anytime Spock lets loose or gets vulnerable with his emotions in general, love is the one that always seems to get him in the most trouble. Dr. Ta'an, thank you. Shat, thank you. Thank you, Dave, Ta'an, and Shax. Thanks. See, this is why I don't even really need to remember things. I just throw out descriptions and you guys just come up with it for me. So I really appreciate that. Um, but yeah, it always seems that the heart is what gets Spock in the most trouble when his emotional barriers break down, which is very interesting. I mean, and I guess that really is the strength of his human side coming through because I mean, any Vulcan can have an emotional breakdown depending on the circumstances because as we know, Vulcans have feelings, they just suppress them. But Spock's half human side, it always seems to be his heart that gets him in trouble whenever his emotional barriers break down. Um, from all the way in the beginning, all the way from TOS, all the way through. You could say Spock can be a very romantic character when he allows himself to be. Um, no, Jean, I would not phrase it that way. I definitely would not phrase it that way because it's not about the sex. I think it really is about the emotion. I think when he lets his emotional guard down, um, it's his heart that gets in the way because let's not forget those sexual urges, while they may exist, while they may exist 365 days a year, every year, it's only once every 7 years where they're a force to be reckoned with. So I respectfully disagree. I think it's emotion that gets in the way and not the physical side of it. I think it's when he lets his emotions down. Um okay, so Strange New Worlds, Pike is an incredibly emotional character and we get to see a lot of that with the people from his past and now he knows what his future is, so I doubt we're going to see him. I think where he's purposely going to avoid any sort of emotional entanglement since he knows exactly where he's going to be ending up. So, because he knows exactly where he's going to be ending up. So I'm not sure we're going to see anything emotional, but there's plenty of amazing people, you know, on that show, and I am sure we're gonna see some besides Spock. I think we're gonna see some relationships develop. I wouldn't be surprised. And then we've got Starfleet Academy to look forward to. And come on, Tilly, I would love to see Tilly in a romance. I would love to see Tilly find somebody. Pike's girlfriend, yeah, yeah. I can't. It's like I don't know why she didn't stick with me. It's like I knew he had the girlfriend and then it didn't work out. I don't know. I feel like I probably should sit down and rewatch Strange New Worlds a little bit or a lot of it. Oh, hold on a second, guys. Come here, Lebo. He was slipping. He was slipping. I had to readjust. I had to readjust the seat so he was slipping. There he is. There's my buddy. There he is. Let's see. Maybe, just maybe, when he lets his emotion. Who knows? Could happen. Maybe Jean. I still that's a biological urge. The punk far is a biological urge. What I think was interesting about Strange New Worlds is they basically said Vulcans can have sex whenever they want. It's just that biological must mate or die only happens once every 7 years. But we obviously did see that thanks to Strange New Worlds, Vulcans don't have sex every 7 years, even though that was something that they talked about in Enterprise. So that everybody was basically sticking to that Pung Far thing up until Strange New Worlds. That it was once every 7 years. So it's your guys' turn. Like I said, Riker and Troy was always the big thing for me. Right from the beginning, I was rooting for Riker and Troy. Right from the get go. So that when they finally got married, that was a big deal for me. But yes, Trip and T'Pol, obviously when Enterprise came along, Trip and T'Pol ranked up there. She did not do it for me. All right, wait, hold on a second, Dave. I could tell she didn't do it for me. Okay, there you go. Maybe that's why she was forgettable. Oh, did I miss something? Oh, yep, there we go. Pike's girlfriend. Okay. Sorry, Roy, I missed this. That was Pike's girlfriend. Yeah, maybe Dave, maybe that's why I couldn't remember her. She just didn't do it for me. She just didn't do it for me. So I was just like, yeah, whatever. It's fine. Um, so do you guys have any favorite couples? I mean, that was part of the homework assignment. You guys were supposed to come in with some couples. So do you guys have any favorite Star Trek couples? There was also an Insurrection, don't forget, even though Beverly was around, Picard, like that 300-year-old chick from the planet, again, can't is to hide all that sweat on his upper lip when he was around Troy. That's funny. That's funny, Sean. Yeah, well, he also did a really good job hiding it with hooking up with everybody, every other girl in every other port are Riker, or or accidentally having women fall in love with him like BB Newirth. By the way, for those of you who don't know, in the background on the stairs, that's Reed. He doesn't make very many appearances in the office because he doesn't like me to pick him up, but that would be the one and only Mr./Lieutenant Reed. Loaxana and Odo. Yeah, I was wondering if I should include them. Because wasn't that more of a marriage of convenience? But there was definitely feeling. Loaxana was amazing. Beverly and the Ghost. Oh my God, how my friends at Lambda Quadrant would never forgive me if we didn't talk about Sub Rosa. If Beverly can hook up with Nana's ghost, then Jean-Luc can hook up with a 300-year-old woman on a planet in Insurrection. Absolutely. Um, yeah, Luoxana has to be one of my all-time favorite characters. But she was definitely not picky when it came when it came to the men. But when she fell in love with David Ogden Stier's character, Timonson, from that one episode where he had to go and then ritually commit ritual suicide, that was her top TNG performance. And then her top outside of TNG performance was Deep Space Nine when she and Odo were trapped on the lift. You want to talk about showing your vulnerability? She was fantastic in that. Yes, he did puddle. Dave's right. He puddled for Luoxana. And I think that that showed a lot. I mean, that's about trust. That is absolutely about trust. And in order to have love, you have to have trust. Trust has to happen. So, what time? Okay. So listen, guys, I know this seems like a very abbreviated um episode, but if you guys want to, I would love if you guys would name some of your favorite couples before we end it. Um, but before we end it, the other thing I want to do before we end it is give a shout out. My booth is now covered at STLV. Yes, I am completely switching topics. My booth is now covered. I have two amazing sponsors for my booth. Chris Garris, thank you so much. I guess he couldn't make it tonight, but I hope he does a rewatch because I'm thanking him. And the one and only Dave Gregory, co-sponsors for my booth in Vegas. Thank you so much. So I did put in for it. I do have it. Unfortunately, I picked it up right around the time of the fires, and Letitia Seraphin has lost her house, and she's the one that does the booths for STLV. So I don't know when or if I'm going to hear from her or if she's back to work, but I will check in, and hopefully I'm going to be in the same place I was last year because I absolutely loved it because I got to be near. Are you two playing? Because I got to be near my Land of the Lost peeps. Hi, Bob. I can't decide if Vader's trying to play with LeBeau or if he's getting defensive. It's an episode. I cried in that episode. We got. Yes, that's right. Forgot about the Rowan Riker. That's right. There's so many one-off relationships that were really interesting in TNG. Table woohoo. That's exactly it. Table woohoo. Um, Ed Milner was once again very generous with points. I've got everything pretty much taken care of for STLV, so I am really looking forward to it. Not getting to spend my birthday in Vegas this year because I have a very strict rule. I've flown twice on my birthday. I've had problems both times. Um, so I do not fly on my birthday anymore. So technically I could be in Vegas for my birthday, but I have chosen to fly out the day after my birthday just to play it safe. So I'm going to be in Vegas starting on August 2nd. Yes, it's early. That is my whole point. I like to get there early. So anybody who's going to be in Vegas August 2nd on through the convention, I am going to be there. And I will have my booth. Like I said, I'm hoping for that same location. Just because it'll be easier to tell people where I am. You'll find me where you found me last year. And also because I really do want to hang out with my Land of the Lost people for 5 days. So that does it for the Valentine's episode. I know it was just kind of listing all these amazing couples, but it's just nice to see that, nobody is immune, that even in the 24th century, relationships are complicated. Complicated even more so when they're, between species and between cultures, because there's just more obstacles to overcome sometimes if you're coming from two different species. But it is not, let us not forget, it is not impossible. We've seen Klingon human, Vulcan human, why am I, this was space blobs in humans, electric space blobs in humans, um, which now I'm just flashing on that scene in the Orville between the blob and Penny Johnson Gerald. So, but no matter how complicated relationships get, they are not wiped out by the 24th and 25th century. They are here to stay. Interpersonal relationships are not going to be replaced by AI. They're not going to be replaced by computers, but you can have a relationship with a computer if you find the right fully functional Android. So listen, guys, I always love hanging out with you. I do want to let you know that I'm calling it. I'm calling it. I was debating how I wanted to do this, but I hate leaving anybody with a maybe. So I am calling it for next week. I am having a procedure on my toe on Wednesday. Not a big deal. Very simple, but I am the first person to say I am the biggest wimp when it comes to pain. I have absolutely no idea how I'm going to be feeling, what I'm going to be taking, but partying will happen. Oh yeah, Dave, you and me, we'll party. No, there is no law that says that you can't run around and say it's your birthday the entire week as long as you don't say it to the same people. Um, so next week there is not going to be a show because I can't guarantee how I'm going to be feeling. And exactly, Nancy. I can't guarantee how I'm going to be feeling, and so I don't want to do the show half-assed or in pain. Because, like I said, I am the biggest effing wimp when it comes to pain. I'm terrible. So I don't want to say that I'm going to be here and then just be so uncomfortable that I can't sit still and do the show, or that I'm going to have taken something for the pain and then that not that that wouldn't be funny. So anyway, guys, as always, thank you. Yes, yes, party with the Trek fans are always the best parties. Oh, thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Nancy. I appreciate that as well. Like I said, it's a very simple procedure, but um, it doesn't matter. I'm a big ass wimp. So I will be surrounding myself with feline and canine love, which I'm hoping will help me feel better. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. If you do have someone to celebrate Valentine's Day with, I hope you have a fantastic time, whatever it is you decide to do. Like maybe sit down and watch the most romantic episodes of Star Trek of all time. I don't know. That might not be a bad idea. For me, I'd watch them up time. Anyway, guys, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lasso. Thank you as always for being here and hanging out with me and spending time on your Monday night with me. I always appreciate it. And until I see you all again, please do not forget to live long and prosper.
Hey, this is Connor Turner. Hey, this is Connor. Hey, this is Connor Turner. You've been listening to the NX7062 podcast with Stephanie. Enjoy your evening.